Hi, folks. Noah Hallett here, and I'm going to go ahead and build a website tonight. And so this is one of the things that I've been doing over the past several years for different clients across the web in different spaces. And for the most part, I've used a platform called Kajabi, WordPress, and then I've worked with some proprietary CMSs and some other companies that I worked for. And I've spent a lot of time tinkering with these different tools and kind of figuring out how they work. Excuse me, I forgot Card and Squarespace and Wix. I've actually done quite a bit. And when you say WordPress, that also means quite a bit too. I've done websites with Elementor, I've done websites with Avada, and several different add-ons and theme builders to them. And one of the biggest sort of subset categories of websites is you can have a website builder, more like WordPress, where you actually do everything to code and build the structure of it very much manually, or you get templates within WordPress, or you get something more like a Wix or a Squarespace that's actually what's called a CMS or a content management system. And you can think of that as like you either build a house from scratch or you decorate a house that's already built. And really, when it comes down to it, I personally think that the best way to build websites, especially if it's a pretty straightforward website where you just need something to work, you need it to be there, you need it to work, then you actually want a CMS, which is much easier to use and comes out really nicely. And so, just to try it out, I'm actually building my own website right now for my own latest iteration of my current venture here. And I wanted to go ahead and just actually walk through the process and do it live. So what I'm trying out is a website builder called IONOS, and this I believe is ionos.com. And I just did the process of signing it up. IONOS stood out because they've got very good rates. I'm starting out fairly early here, so my basic website, I don't want to spend a lot of money on my first outing with a website here, right? So they've got really good deals, and it comes with a domain, where usually what you need to build a website is both the domain, which is the actual address that appears in the address bar, like mywebsite.com. And this had a built-in search that lets you get that, and then it is a registrar. So once you find a website domain that you want, you get the website and the domain together in the same platform, which is pretty huge. This is actually the first platform where I'd seen that or personally worked with that, where you can do both together. So I don't have to go through a GoDaddy or a Bluehost or something like that. I can just have website and domain all together, which really is a very logical way to do it, but I just never seen it before. So I'm glad to see that. And there are two ways to do this, right? So this says there is a website, AI website builder, which would be kind of fun. And then there's also the website templates. And now the website templates are going to give me a little bit more work because I'll have to actually go ahead and do it. And then we're just going to kind of look at these templates. And I'm doing a very introductory, very, very basic. So this is not a complicated account I'm doing. I'm really just focusing on a very basic website to go ahead and get this done, get this up and running, and show, get moving. So let's see. We'll take a look at the templates here. And my color scheme is mostly black and white, but I don't want it to be too black and white. I do want to add some color. So I'm shying away from something like this because those are completely full on black and white. If I added color, it would look a little bit strange. Maybe. Should we try it? Also working with some website design folks and some graphic designers recently, the trend tends to be towards lighter websites that stand out. They're a little bit eye-popping that aren't dark. And while I personally am sort of drawn towards dark design colors, I think that that may be the way that I go here. Now, one thing I do need to consider, though, is that my logo is dark. So I'm going to need to be able to customize these a little bit. So I'm actually leaning towards this one, but we'll come back to that in a minute. And I'm looking for something very basic, not super photo heavy, with a combination of text and video, actually. And I want to put video cards on here, so we'll go there. And this does have different subcategories to tell you what each one is. Let's see, so we got bakery, we got interior design, we got business. I wonder. Blank light theme photography, we've got business. A lot of these just say they're for a business, which is a nice way to go. Then we got travel. And starting with templates is pretty cool because you can see what these shells look like with content in them. And obviously this is filler content, so it doesn't necessarily tell you exactly what it's going to look like when it's done with your content, but it gives you an idea of what it could go towards. And one of the big things you want to work towards here is, I do actually like that one. One of the things you want to look towards here is how does my design fit into one of these templates? Because it's very easy to go like, how do I build this template to match my style, what I want to do? And you can change a lot of these to make them very personal, but the less dramatic rebuilding of the website you have to do, the better. The more stable it's going to be, the easier it'll be to maintain, the faster it'll be to set up. So you want to keep this pretty straightforward. And this is the kind of thing that I would say to anyone I was building a website for as well. These are the exact kind of considerations that I would put through there too. So I wanted to go ahead and walk the walk a bit. So this one's probably too dark. This one is fun, but very photo heavy and a little bit pink or purple. So we're going to go ahead and try this one first and just see how it comes out. And now what I'm leaning toward, the reason so let's kind of do a basic outline here. And if you're watching this video, you may have already seen the business website. But to kind of talk through the process, I want a dark header so I can put my logo on it and it won't be crazy looking. Because if you have a black box around white text on your logo or your header, for example, then it's going to look funny if that's just on a white header. So I'm assuming that any of these I can change some of the designs and change this to a dark header. So I'd basically have to. And I want to have a main landing page and then 4 individual sections below it with just a small blurb about a product, hopefully a video embed that's a little bit like this one, and then some text. So I like this one still, I think. Let's go ahead and do it. I'm drawn to it. Let's go ahead and try it. Let's see what we got here. And this is really cool. It's kind of fun using this, and I'm actually doing this live. I haven't scouted this ahead. I'm just going based on what I know about these, just website builders in general. And these are really subtle colors on this template. Let's actually look at this a little bit differently. I'm going to look at how this color scheme looks with a more dramatic color scheme. So let's go ahead and look at this one. And then immediately I can actually change the color palette. So that was something that was actually a plus or a minus in all the ones that I was looking at, is whether or not they actually had a color that made sense with my sort of individual vision. And now if we change this, you can see it completely changes the color. And I'm assuming when I get to the next part of this, this will also let me change this even further. That's cool. I really like that there's that builder that gives you that much change here. This is a really good setup. I'm really impressed with the UI. IONOS, good job. And this is cool. There are actually a lot of these popping up, these CMS website builders that compete with the big players on the market that are going to be Squarespace and Wix. And some of these do have a bit of an established color. You can see how on this one, you can see the color change isn't quite as dramatic because it's already very ingrained in this. Reason I'm drawn to this one is it has this services thing here, where I like that very quick nuance bit right there where it talks about the individual pieces. Now that might be a little bit short for me. So as much as I like it, you know what? This is actually a pretty great one. Let's go ahead and try the, well, okay. So this is a one I really like too. And let's take another look at my sort of top choice. And this says, yeah, more shapes and colors are available in the website editor later. We can really change this. This is a super fun way to do this. For a long time, building a website has been a very stressful process where it's a lot of like, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how to do things. It's such a long walk between vision and execution, where these CMS builders make it so much easier because a lot of it is taken care of for you. I do really like this. Contact form. Oh yeah, okay. We're going to go ahead and do this one. I'm going to stick with our first instinct. And this says global shapes theme. Ooh, okay. So that changed this dividing line between your different sections. And now here, there's actually, I have to go back and forth quite a bit because there's a lot of different customization between each individual section here too. I don't like that at all. And even this may be a little bit too much. I don't love the tooth marks there. And it doesn't let me reset this. So I can't undo that without going back to, oh, there it is. Look at that. Reset to default. Nice. Ah, ah. This is, now having done this for years, this is really exciting to see a new tool that solves a lot of the frustrations with the previous tools. So this is really good. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and go with this one. We're doing it, and I believe we can change this later. This is for Go Boulder LLC, which is my brand new LLC that I'm very excited to be rolling out. And we are business consulting. Let's see. There is the first. Business management consultant. I mean, we'll just go with that. That's kind of a close category. We'll say consultant. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice a little bit because we've got some nasty weather here, and that's definitely, oh, okay, we'll just do consultant. And a lot of what I'm doing is working with startups, small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and investors, kind of bridging that gap between the startups and then investment companies with a really major focus on helping startups scale and then also helping startups and investors find each other. That's the big goal of what I want to do. But a lot of it is going to be exploring the space in between and checking out emerging technologies. One of the things I really like about the startup space is that it's a constant learning process, and there's so many different kinds of businesses to work with at all times. That's really, really cool. So you constantly have to learn. And that both is really exciting for somebody who wants to work with startups, but also kind of challenging for startups because there aren't that many people out there that have the breadth of knowledge that they would need to really help them in their specific space, because each one's going to be so individual. And while some things are very familiar or very similar across the spectrum, a lot of them are going to be totally unique. So, oh, let's see. I'm probably going to end up having to go with business management consultant, although that's not necessarily, doesn't necessarily cover it, but it's close enough. We'll go there. Ooh, the multiple categories. Look at that. And I am doing website design, so there's going to be some of that too. I don't want to advertise myself as a graphic designer though, because while I've built websites, I do defer to the expertise of actual graphic designers a lot of the time. I do have, I'm going to do there. That's good. Let's see. And I don't really want to argue that either because I don't have the financial planning background. And now we're oversharing. So we'll just go ahead and start with this. I believe I can change these later, but we're going to go ahead and go to both of those. We'll keep it simple. I don't need to have my address in here. We may blank that part out of the video. And I don't necessarily want these either. We'll put the phone, well, we'll put those in there. That's fine. We have finished our onboarding. Now we really get to play with this. And one thing I didn't highlight is in the top of the website preview, they had a tablet and a phone icon that you could click to see what this would look like on a phone or a tablet, which you have to have a website that is mobile friendly, which is another reason to go with the CMS, because if you're tinkering with the width or shape or spacing of individual features of text and photos, that really quickly messes with your breakpoints. That is the point at which something will shift from your website computer view to your tablet or your phone view, and it can look pretty weird if it's not lined up correctly. And that's one of the spaces where these template-based CMSs really help. So let's go ahead and bump straight to, so there's some interesting stuff in here, and I will say IONOS was really good, but it tried to sell me a bunch of additional services, not necessarily in a really pushy way, and in a way these could actually be useful. For example, here, if I'm doing an online store, there is this right here. If I want to do email marketing, there's this right here. If I want competitor tracking, woo, I can do that here too. Now, all of those are upsells that IONOS offers, but I don't need any of those right now. Just keeping this very basic. We're working on the website editor. Let's see what you got, IONOS. This is very exciting. And again, I haven't previewed this, so it's kind of fun to go ahead and check it out. And check it out live. There you go. Have fun. I love it. And I'm going to turn this off real quick. I want to go ahead and look at another page here too. Now, I'm going to be setting up basically a shell of my website. And that's just going to be the kind of resting place content. I've got a little bit I want to put in here. And then, ooh, so right here, I'm going to go to header options. We'll go ahead and put a logo. And I can hide that. Let's see, section background, this has to be pretty much black. And I should be able to change that. And I can change it. And I need to go with a true black. See if it lets me do that. Yes, okay, so I can go to more and it'll let me do a custom color. I'm gonna go true black, and then we'll go from there. And for this, I'm actually gonna change this to my image. And this isn't actually letting me put one in here. Okay. We're going to leave that as is. We'll keep it really simple, and then I'm going to tinker with some of the more stranger elements later. Go with confidence. Go bolder. Not bad for a tagline, right? And we can tinker with the text here. I'm going to go ahead and change this. And you can see that that does not work particularly well. So we can go ahead and go with white text. But we need it to stand out. And you can change your text sizes, your different fonts. I believe this was a heading 1. Heading 1 is usually the really big one. It's interesting that it got smaller when I did that. And that's a case where the templates can be a bit of a problem. So the templates will be designed by individual designers, and they may not necessarily match what the builder's defaults are. So the builder's default has your heading 1 through 6, and each one is set to a default size. And I think what I had was more like a 60. And I can't change this container width very much, which that is unfortunate, but that's okay. And again, a big part of this is learning to work within the bounds of your template. So I may actually change the template here at some point after tinkering with this a bit. I just wanted to go ahead and give this a try. You can play with your font. And I wonder if there's a style. Nope. I don't want to upgrade to the AI text generator. And that's one of the downsides of going with a more budget option is they are going to try to upsell you a bit, which this is a really quality tool. So I appreciate that that's there. Now, what I'm trying to do is get my background or my text to show over the background. So there are a couple ways that I can do that. It's either messing with the text and messing with the text background or changing the photo and the images. And that's why I wanted to go ahead and do this. We'll say startup. Because this is pexels.com, which is a really excellent place for people to put up artistic photos and do a really good job with. You get some really phenomenal photography here, and you can get stock photos. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that will have this text show up against it. It has to be not too busy, has to be kind of distinct towards what I'm trying to do. And this is where I'm not going to spend too much time on this because this is going to be one of the big decisions I make. Ooh. But I don't want this to be too crazy here. And I try really hard to make sure to credit the people who make the photos. So this is Vlada Karbovic. And we'll do that. That's going to be too big. And a lot of website designers, they'll limit the size of the images you can put in to help with load times so that your load times aren't too long to make sure your website doesn't take up too much space. I may be able to get away with this. We'll go ahead and try it. And I'm going to copy that to make sure that my alt text specifically references her. And now that I've done that, we can go back to our editor and we can change this photo. I can replace that. Okay, I understand. It really wants to use this AI stuff here. And it did let me use that, so the size is not an issue. And that's not bad. Now, what I'm noticing though is I can't change the background photo, which may change my initial design here and change what I do. And we're going to probably have to make this stand out a little bit more. I wonder. And you do have to highlight your text sometimes to actually change the font. Sometimes it'll let you change the font that you're not actually selecting. No, thank you. And I probably don't want to mess with this too much. Yeah, and there I see the F and the I are blurring together. And again, I'm going to tinker with a lot of this more later, so I'm not going to mess with this too much. See more, nice. And one of the things that I do a lot when putting text on a background, which this template doesn't seem to allow, is that I would put a halo on it or a background on it, like a little bit of a glow around the letters so they stand out against the background, even if the background color would blend with the color of the text. No, no, no. My brother might like that one. Sorry, bro. And I think the default actually looks really nice. So I'm going to go back to the default because it worked really well. And usually that's going to be your default at the top. Look at that. That's a good text. Okay, we'll leave that there. We're going to tinker with that a little bit later. This does give you the option add additional sections. We're going to go ahead in this and edit this existing piece. Our core offerings. And of course, you notice that I'm making sure the text plays with the space here, and it's got to be consistent with the top to some level. So I'm going to go ahead and make all of the font color red. And there's always a little bit of a temperamental process here. And now, as much as I'm enjoying this layout, I think I'm going to go ahead and change to one of the others. I like the contact form. Let's see what happens if I add a section. See how easy it is to add the contact form. So let's see. Contact. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's very nice. Okay. And so this will show you actually a way to go ahead and contact this. You've got options for directions. That is nice. Okay, so I can really customize this a lot, but I think I want a template that's going to work a little bit better with my kind of starting idea, because not being able to change this background at all, that is a problem. And there may be a way to do that. Done. And let me see if there is actually a way to edit this. So I'm looking at this top section. Let's click section options. And there probably is a way to change the background. There we go. And let's actually use this as that image, and then we can use another image. Oh yeah, that's good. Okay, that's better. And then we'll look for more images here. And we want a taller image here because this is going to be what's going in the middle. Ping pong battles. Yeah, all right, let's show the startup vibe. These are apps. Oh, excuse me, before I do this, I do need to make sure that I set a, this should give me the option to apply alt text. Something to this that lets any screen reader or the backend code know a description of the photo, a description of what's in it, and then especially that's where I like to attribute to the photographer. But I don't see a way to do that. I can move the photo though. And that gives me a little bit of play with where things are positioned. And you can see that that's shifting a little bit so that I have a little bit more clarity with my text. And that's just something to play around with and see what works best. I like that. But this doesn't let me set alt text, which tisk tisk. That's something you absolutely should be able to do if you're playing with any kind of photos. Okay, and I can change the color. But no, the default is the image, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Ooh. And switching to the color type wipes out your image. That's not good. Come on, IONOS. You've done such a good job up to here. Okay, and then we'll leave it at that. And I can make it a little bit more transparent. And that actually is really helpful to, it can wash out some of the details. So it makes it a little bit more subtle of a photo, but then also makes your text stand out better. So that's a really handy setting to be able to play with. And then I'm going to change this one too. And this is where we're looking for a different photo. Now the goal with this photo is to make sure that the text appears against it. So that's pretty good. And my text is red. Camera's nice, but that doesn't necessarily capture it. I love this one, but that's not really the vibe we're going for. And this is just me scrolling on photos. Apologies for the delay, so I'm not going to spend too long with this part. I will be adding picture. Ooh, ooh, why not? And again, we're looking at that size, and this actually doesn't have who made it. Huh. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Interesting. Okay. So not attributed to anyone. Yeah, I'll go ahead and replace this, that second photo. And I downloaded it twice. It looks like there was somebody attributed to it. Maybe it just wasn't loading correctly. And that's on me. Ooh. And this lets me move it around a little bit. And I can zoom or fit. That's nice. I should go ahead and do that part. Let's focus just on that part in the middle. Apply. And can I move this around? No, I still can't move that around. Let's see what I can do with the settings here. And in most CMS builders, you'd be able to change the background of this card. This is a card that has text in it. You should be able to change the background color, but it's not letting me do that. All right, we're done. Okay, I'm definitely going to go with another template because this is not really working for me. I like the background photo, but this swap between the background photo and the foreground photo with the text overlaying it really limits what you can do with the photo and the text. And it just doesn't really come out right. So we are going to go ahead and go back. And we're going to look at our home page, see if we can change the theme. Change theme. I love this UI. This is really good. Let's see. Ooh, I don't want to install my own plugins. No, thank you. So we're going to go back to home. And I believe I already have a tab open for home. I do. Let's see. Reset website. Ooh, what's that do? Oh man, that's a big scary button. We're going to go ahead and reset to scratch and see if that takes us back to the theme builder. It does. You know what? Let's try the AI one. Go Boulder LLC. We got the categories. Nice. So it didn't wipe out everything. Business consultant. We're going to the professional. Waiting for your input. And I went with focusing on startups, investors, and online presence. See what we can do with that AI. It says waiting on my input. Input professional. Okay, let's see. Nope, nope, we're going with modern. So we get to choose the personality. Okay, okay. And now I want something that does look professional and modern, but doesn't look too flashy. Now I like the Crimson Classic because I like this contrast here between the red highlights and then the blue black, or the white black, excuse me. The navy blue elegance feels a little bit too, one, it's too close to a company I used to work for. We're gonna go with the Crimson Classic just to try it. And we can swap out some of these colors. We've got that. That's a lot of purple, guys. Yeah, we'll leave that. Let's see what this did, because I don't really feel like it did very much. Oh, all right, let's see. Oh, and I get some different options that I can look at. Okay. This had the exact same problem I was looking at before, but this may be a little bit better. Just because it's a single photo, I can change the opacity on that, because the issue I had with the last one was it was the two different photos. One of them I could make more opaque, the other one I couldn't, and they were split over the text. It was right in the middle. Now, how many of these does it give me? Now, that one's kind of fun. And I assume that with all of these, I'd have the option to change the colors around. So I could, oh, I do like that one. Okay, let's try that. Well, that was fun. So we don't even have to go with the stock themes. And I'm assuming that the AI tool is going to build within the limitations of the builder. So we won't have any problems with compatibility. We won't have any problems with changing the, we won't have any problems with changing between mobile and tablet and web. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I like this. Okay. Oh, perfect. And we're not going to do that, but we can change out this contact us. So do section options. I don't want the map. Ah, oh, that is very good. I don't want the address. And I should be able to do done. Oh, oh, this is a good, folks, this is a very good builder. And I can tweak this quite a bit. I can play with this a lot, but this is really a terrific starting point. And look at that parallax. And a parallax being where the photo stays still as the website moves around it. Now, you do have issues with the text readability. You can see that a little bit, but overall, it's a really snazzy, very professional look, and I really love that, how that came out. So we're going to stick with it. We're also going to call this video. Can't wait to show you how it comes out. Until next time.